And then
Yeah.
there's this part, which is like a chin. Like the beard has
Well,
a
it is
chin.
coming from your chin.
Yeah, it's just that there's a separation from the underneath to the chin. I don't know how to
You
deal
don't
with
like
it.
how it's sort of a lighter color than the rest of your beard
Well,
hair?
no, it's not the lighter color. It's and I've been messing with it, so maybe you can't see,
Oh, it's the
but
shape?
it's the shape. Like there's my chin right here, right? And then there's
Yeah.
the extra hair, and the extra
Ah.
hair like is underneath the chin. Maybe, I mean, because I want to have a long beard, but I also want it to be like, you know, en masse, not
Right.
like two separate beards.
I got two beards.
I got two beards. How's it going, Ben?
Good. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe you can. I'm wearing my heavy jacket and
Is it
fingerless
cold in
gloves.
the theater?
It is cold. I actually had. So here's something that's happening today. I had the heat going for about an hour and a half to warm the place up, because when we're done podcasting in about a half an hour, there's going to be an event here where there's going to be a nude model. It is
Oh, I
a
heard about this.
Yes, it is a figure drawing class, and there's going to be a nude model, and I just feel so bad for whoever that is that it's like 45 degrees in the building.
So, can I
So
ask,
I've been
is this
running the heat.
something? It seemed like this isn't a rental. This is a thing that Annex has decided to start doing.
Catherine is spearheading this. I don't. It's somebody that she knows, and so that's all I know. Like, there's a
This is
whole
I feel
setup
like this
here.
is a good idea because and I'm serious about this. When I was taking art classes, right? One of the things that we had to do was nude figure drawing.
Yeah.
And of course, because I'm who I am, uh, I drew myself nude because I thought that was funny.
So
It's
wait. So
nude figure drawing in two different ways.
So you had
So I had a mirror, and I
but
was.
did you have a class where you had a nude model come in to
We did,
model
yeah,
nude?
but because one of the things that was happening was that no one was at because the thing that the art teacher said was ask your friends if they will model for you. Most people actually, will consider it. Usually they will determine that it's flattering, even if they say no. You'll be surprised. This is again what he said. You'll be surprised um, how much more open people are to it than you might think.
Yeah.
And of course, no one in the class. But that was the other thing is that my way of doing it kept me from having to ask anybody. You know, um,
Right.
at that time I was living at my parents' house also, which is like, do you want to come to my mom and dad's place across the street from the church? And
Oh,
again,
wait.
it's one of those.
I see. So it was put up to each individual student to find their own nude model.
At first, yes, and then after we failed, because he was like, okay, so you drew this from a magazine. It's very obvious. And
Right.
he talked about, this is foreshortened here and stuff like that. This is a camera angle, not an art thing. He then sort of
Wow.
said, oh, I guess I'll get the nude model for you. And then he
Yeah.
brought the nude model to the class. Yeah, and I think part of it, I don't think that he was doing this to be like mean exactly, but he wanted to show us, that and this is of course apropos to everything that I talk about in every single podcast now, that there's a difference between people who do art and people who don't do art. And I think I feel like you and I, making it more about the podcast and about I think you and I sometimes forget, because we were so free and easy with what we were doing eventually. Annex gave us a lot of space to explore. They let us do whatever we wanted to. And I think we sometimes forget, like when I was making not making fun of, but making light sort of the people who, put on a play for the first time and everything that they're excited about, like that they found a place that will rent them space. It's like these places want to rent you space.
Right.
You really have to try hard in order for the space to go, no, I don't think so.
We don't want your money.
But you and I are so used to being looked at and thought of as weird, or people not enjoying what it is that we're doing, that sort of thing. There's a freedom there that if you said to someone, hey, look, you've got 5 minutes to do whatever you want to on a stage, pick something, they would have a hard time doing it, a much harder time than we would. We would still have a hard time doing it. I mean, we always did every single time we.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sort of, I don't want to call it an inability to come up with something, but sort of maybe a growing reluctance to put any effort into it, I think showed, which is why Brett started giving us assignments.
That is a good, well, okay. And serious, this is inside baseball, but Brett started giving us assignments because he saw The Five Obstructions by Lars von Trier and wanted to do that in his own life. This is a true story.
Really?
I'm serious. We saw that film, and immediately afterwards, he started giving us stuff to do.
I've never seen that film. I wasn't there.
No, you weren't. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I recommend it. It's one of my favorite, like, oh, this is how to be creative sort of things. And what I mean by that is this. I feel like the film showed, and in Brett giving us those things to do, because, I mean, here's the thing. I am not ignoring the fact that we were kind of phoning it in sometimes, right? This is why he introduced this, but the Five Instructions is where he got the idea. Basically the movie is this: Lars von Trier has another friend of his who's also a filmmaker, and he sort of bets him to remake the short film that he made, but he gives him 5 things that he can't do. And they do it a couple of times, or a few times, so I don't remember which one it was, but one of them, like, no shot can be longer than 5 seconds, that kind of thing. It's so they remake these films with these obstructions, and they're forced by the limitations to be creative. That was kind of the thing, and that's what Brett decided to do with us. So he would give us, it has to be, it can't be music, and you have to include this. It has to have I think the first one that we did. Oh, this is crazy. Me maybe remembering this was the first one we did with his new kind of assignments. The lobotomy guy. I think it might have been. Like, we couldn't use words, and it had to.
No, I mean, we did. It was either that, which was more of a clown piece than anything, or it was the silent theater piece that had the poison Lotzi.
Ah, yes.
With Pamela. It was one of those two.
Yeah. But those were near, during that time. And then it got looser again.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just go, I need music, or whatever.
It got. I think he kind of fell back on spectacle if he didn't have anything for us to do.
But spectacle is one of our favorite things because and
it's very broad. I mean, it's sort of like what we were doing anyway.
The main thing being, anyone could get up on a stage and do something for 5 minutes. I mean, they could. Whether it would be entertaining, how much thought they would put into all that, who knows?
Well, I mean, that was the nice thing about 60 Seconds Max is even if it wasn't entertaining, like it was sort of like a whole evening of GudeLaurance performances because people just got up and did crazy stuff, and regardless of whatever it was over in a minute.
Birthday cake thing. There was some sort of, I think it was like a nude birthday cake or something weird. Like they had
Christina
a cake on them.
Maston?
Maybe. I don't know.
I want to say that she did something that involved nudity, or maybe I'm thinking of like a classic annex that she did a long time ago, and I'm conflating the two. But yeah, I missed that piece. I was actually off in the back doing
You and
something.
I were doing something. We both missed
Yeah,
it. I think it might have been that we were on like
we might have
pretty
been
soon
rehearsing,
afterwards.
but yeah, I remember just the audience went
Yeah,
wild.
we just walked in the audience, uh, and it was like, and I remember I thought that I saw a glimpse of a cake. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
the the whole thing, Ben, we're getting back into it. We're doing more stuff, more people very, very upset about the training thing that we talked about a little bit. And I've got a thought that I will share with you.
is this
There is a
about
difference.
the Facebook thing?
What's the Facebook thing? Tell me that.
So Lenza, you've heard of Lenza, this AI art?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. This is sort of about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that Facebook was. Does Facebook own it, or where does it?
No. People are using it to create profile pictures of
Avatars.
themselves,
Yeah,
and so some people are using it, and other people are like, "This is stealing art. Don't do this."
yeah. So of course this is from I don't know how to pronounce it, LAION 5B, where my stuff is, and I really feel as though like the I mean I totally get the idea. Did I tell you about the piano thing? Somebody was like, well, people only treat artists this bad. No one does this to musicians. Um, and and so I looked into the data for Muse, the OpenAI's, I think it's like Muse, it's called Muse something. OpenAI's music version of,
Okay.
an art generator, but for music. It does MIDI stuff, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that they use for the data is from this e-piano competition that happens. It's been running for 10 years. People play, the virtuoso pianists play on these electronic pianos, and they record their key input, how fast they play, how loud they play, on the keys and all that. You know how MIDI works.
Yeah.
It doesn't just record the notes, it records a whole bunch of other information. And so they have 200 hours of these people playing, and that was part of what was used for this Muse thing. Now, the people who were saying that the database going so not the database, I'm sorry, the data set, which consists of a URL, right, where the art is openly accessible on the internet, the art is here, and keywords that like describe stuff that's in the art. That's what the data set is. The people who say that this is stealing from the people because they should have been asked, they had no right to use this data. They should have been asked before they opt in. We're talking 5 billion images without attribution in the link itself. There's no way to know who did this thing, who uploaded this image, where is it from, all that. So in order for that company to find it, the overhead would be crazy. You'd have to, find every single person, ask them, is this okay? Can't do it, right? So this is the thing. It's a too big to fail problem. Either we have it with the no attribution, no asking, or we don't have it. That's the thing. And I've decided that I like the fact that we have it. Is it ethical or moral? I feel better about it because I'm also in there. So it's kind of like I'm making the decision, and people can and will. Friends of mine are mad. They don't like this stance that I have. That yeah, I think it's okay because it's too difficult to do it without doing it in a way that this person who I'm talking to believes is unethical, right? It has to be unethical in order for it to exist. It has to be unethical by that metric. And my only point was that the MuseNet data, same thing. In order for them to use that and be ethical, if you're going to be samesies with the LAION stuff, you would have to go to each of those virtuoso pianists who played on the thing saying, hey, by the way, you You gave your performance to these people. They're using it in a database. I'm going to be using that database for my project. Is it okay with you, individual person who's collected, that I use this information? And again, the doing it would be untenable. And so the people say, this is bad, it's unethical. I don't want you to do this. Don't use this. Don't use this thing to make your Facebook avatar. If you do, you're dead to me. I won't let you do any art commissions with me or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So the way this works, and what day is it today? It's
December 8th, 2022.
2022. Record Paul Goody saying this. If we make it so that training data needs to have permission from the person who generated whatever that data is, a song that you played, a play that you wrote,
a style of art that you predominantly use.
A style of art cannot be copywritten, by the way. That's a
correct,
whole nother thing.
That's the issue here.
Yeah.
At least with the lens of Facebook avatar generator.
We'll get into that in just a second. But let's just say for right now, right? The issue isn't that you're using my style, right? Let's say the number one, and what I think is actually a legitimate gripe that I think people can have. You, Lenza, used my image to train your data, and you're benefiting from that training. Therefore, I have contributed something to your success, right? Yeah. You can say that, and I deserve compensation. How much compensation that is, whatever, I don't know. You can totally say that. Maybe there is a lawsuit. As example, the Copilot thing. If it goes through, it'll pave the way for another lawsuit. Maybe someone will say, yes, people in this need to be paid, and I might get 4 cents or whatever from some company because they used my art. Possible. The thing that will happen, though, and this is what I want to go on record as saying, the thing that will happen is these data sets won't be usable. They'll go away. Who does have a whole bunch of images that they already own the copyright to? Getty Images, Disney, those places now will have data training sets, and they will say to the Midjourneys out there, partner with us, and then you can use our data set, but we get to call your product this, that, or the other. Right now, Midjourney wouldn't do it the way that the founder is speaking and all that, but they might be forced to. If you still want to explore this space like you want to, you have to play ball with the people that own the images now. Because individual people signing up and saying, yeah, I'm okay with this, will move too slow, I think, for there to be a legitimate bunch of images.
So it's the corporations with the power and the money that are going to be holding
They will end up holding the purse string or the key to the kingdom, and artists still won't get paid. And that's why that's the only reason, if you're an artist listening to this and you're mad at me, shaking your head, that's the only reason why I'm against it, is because I think that this fervor of this is unethical, these things need to go away, is actually a power play. By Getty Images, for example, has said that they aren't going to allow AI images on their platform because, and they when they said this, they did a press release. They're like, because it's not, there are some questions about whether or not it's ethical. Once the playing field gets lowered to where you have to have copyright of all this stuff, they're going to get into it, and they're going to say, okay, sign up now for Getty data, and you can get all of our images in your data set, and it'll look pretty and it'll be great. That's my guess. I mean, one of the problems with Midjourney, that Midjourney is having, and they've mentioned this before, there are JPEG artifacts in the images that it outputs. There are watermarks. There are things like that because, of the training data that they used. And, that's...
So the training data thinks that certain pictures of trains have Getty Images watermarked across the front.
They're like, this is a picture of a train. And just like these 10 other pictures of a train I saw, the word Getty is right here. So a picture of a train's got to have that there.
or
that sort of thing.
Shutterstock or Alami or
Yep,
whoever.
exactly. Or this is the other thing is it's been sometimes it tries to create signatures like, oh, this is what a signature looks like. There are some images that you get that have a reflection of a screen in them because somebody took a picture off of a screen and then that got uploaded in. So, that sort of it's very interesting, all the
Now,
different.
yeah, that's an interesting loophole in terms of images, copyrights of images. I don't know if this
Yeah,
still exists as a copyright loophole these days, but a long time ago when I was actually learning editing and filmmaking, I was following. Back then, they weren't called YouTubers because YouTube didn't exist, but it
right,
was a content creator who made a video, and the only way he was able to show, he wanted to show like a clip from a movie,
right,
and he couldn't actually like snip the clip from an MP4 and put it in his video. The way he
right.
got around it, and he seemed very, very sure of this was a very legal way, was he videotaped. Now,
Ben is frozen.
yeah, I
Okay,
just noticed
so
that
he was very sure of that's where you ended.
yeah, he
for
was
me.
very sure of this law that he was circumventing. He videotaped his TV that was playing the movie, and legally that's what he could show in his video. Now, he did it very
Wow.
well. It looked great. You wouldn't be able to tell. I only know he did that because he explained his process and why he had to do that.
Right,
and
right,
so
right.
taking a picture of a picture and using the picture of the picture as trading data is interesting. Can
That would be
the
interesting.
creator of the original picture now claim that it's a copyright infringement?
Is
Probably.
somebody in the room with you, Ben?
Oh God.
Oh, okay. So
That's the beginning of a
reason
horror
I said-
movie
'cause
right
I
there.
thought they
No,
said
the
something.
theater's empty. Are you hearing things?
So I heard. I think I heard an echo of you when you turned your head, and so so
Okay.
so the
Nobody better be in
yeah,
here.
no. I think you're fine.
And then the
So
lights go out. That's why
the
my internet
interesting-
crashed.
Oh no, yeah. So what this means is that you've got people that are coming in saying, I'm not going to use this, that, or this is unethical. I'm not going to use this. And this is the second part that we wanted to bring in, right? They say, because someone can come in and say, give me an MC Escher. Well, no, they'll say, give me I'm thinking of someone, Johann Vasquez. How do you say the guy who did Invader Zim? Is it just John Vasquez? But
I have no idea.
Oh gosh, sorry everybody. Okay, we'll say Bill Watterson, right? Calvin and Hobbes. So you can go into Midjourney and say Han Solo and Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon in the style of Bill Watterson,
Which
right?
I've seen.
and one of the outputs might be Han and Chewie going down the hill in the wagon, but the wagon is the size of the Millennium Falcon or whatever, right? And then someone says, well, you're ripping off Bill Watterson. That's his style. You can't do that.
Right.
And that's you're violating his copyright. And the thing is that is a really weird area. Right now, there have been times where if the thing looks like the thing, but it's not the thing, right? Sometimes you can get away with not doing it. So as an example, let's say I have giraffe and elephant, right? You've seen it, giraffe and elephant are friends, my two cartoon characters. And let's say that you, Ben Lawrence, make tiger and buffalo, and it's a tiger and a buffalo, and tiger looks like giraffe and buffalo looks like elephant, a clear parody of my guys.
Right.
If I wanted to sue you it would cost me a lot of money. It would cost you a lot of money. And so normally one of two things happens. If I don't like what you're doing, right? I say, yo, Ben, cut it out. Take this down. If I like what you're
Never.
doing, I just leave you alone. But here's the thing. If you, Ben Lawrence, say to me, hey, Paul, I just made Buffalo and Tiger. I think it's pretty funny. What do you think? Can I keep doing it? Question mark. I have to tell you no. I have to say, no, you can't do that. Because otherwise, I'm not showing that I'm willing to protect my copyright.
Or I will let you license the characters and I get 70% of all proceeds.
I mean, yeah. If we want to actually do a legal thing and a money thing, that's a so sorry. But in some of these cases, people are making money off of it.
But it's also, this isn't, the creators aren't actually directly involved as far as I can tell. As, you know, we have, like if somebody did, you know, Calvin and Hobbes as Han and Chewie, that's very clearly
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes. But if they did two other things in the style of Bill Watterson, gets in a gray area. But when we were talking about the output of these Facebook avatars, like in the style of Lisa Frank. Lisa Frank's not throwing a fit on Facebook. It's everybody else who is like upset on behalf of.
Yes, upset on behalf of is a big deal. There are lots of people who I argue with nicely on and it's not that I'm arguing with them. I'm contradicting their statement. I'm saying, well, I actually am one of these people, and I would prefer it if LAI on 5B continues to exist because I like doing AI art stuff.
Do you find you're an exception to the rule here?
In general, and okay, this podcast doesn't get listened to by many people, and so I'm,
By zero
I'm going to
people at the
say
moment.
something that may make people mad if they hear it.
Uh-oh.
In general, the people who are mad about this aren't people who are making money doing art professionally. They're people who want to make money doing art professionally, in general, or who are making a little bit of money professionally. Like, I'll give you, I haven't talked. Here's the thing. For those of you who don't know, who listen to the podcast, my birth father is an artist in Chicago. He does like gallery shows and has worked for like, he did, I think I can say this. He did murals for Kraft for their offices. Like
Not
did a
bad.
big thing of Kraft mac and cheese and stuff like that. And paint on canvas, paint stuff. No one is making an AI that does paint on canvas, right? And the people that buy
Not
stuff
yet.
from him, yeah, exactly. The people that buy stuff from him not just because they like how his art works, but because like how his art looks. They like him, and they like that they own something that he does. I'll give you think of the cakewalk, right? At Annex, right? Are you paying, or a bake sale, say for a kid's school? Are you paying $5 for those cookies because you think that they're worth $5? Are you paying it because you like the kids and you want to support the kids, and so you're buying the thing? The same thing with any Annex fundraiser. And people will say, well, this isn't fundraising, this is, a business. Art is not respected enough, period. No artist is making as much money as they need to survive, except for a small few. Most of the people that who are famous artists, who are good at their jobs and all that, aren't making most of their money off of art. They've got some other thing, either family money or a side gig or whatever. There are exceptions to the rule, granted, but wouldn't you say, Ben, in general, the people that we know
People
who
that
are
like I
artists,
know personally?
yeah,
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm not gonna make a broad statement saying people don't make money off of art. I used to work in the art world. People make a lot of money off of art.
Right. Right. But what
So
I'm saying is the
I
people
don't know what
who
it
are
takes to get there, though.
the people who are concerned about this stuff. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Yeah, and can we say the name of the founder or can we not say the name of the founder?
No, you can say his name.
Okay, so Ben used to work for Paul Allen.
What? That founder? I thought you were talking about Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's.
No, but and one of the things that he had, did you do stuff with his movie special effects prop stuff? Was that part of
Yeah,
your department?
yeah.
So
Yeah, I did.
so he had, for those of you who don't know, there is a science fiction museum in Seattle. Is it still there, by the way?
It's called Mopop these days.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff there, and if you look, a lot of the exhibits say, on loan from the Allen Foundation or something like that, because he had so much stuff that he did a cool thing, which I think it's a cool thing, right?
I mean, we could. There's a whole podcast about what became of the Jimi Hendrix Experience Museum, but yeah, all the art. I'm not gonna say all the art. I don't know. It's been 20 years. But when I
instead
worked
of
there,
keeping it in a basement somewhere or whatever,
Yeah.
he actually put it out there, let people go around and see it.
well, I mean, for that stuff
money.
specifically, there was an article in the New York Times that came out. AJ sent me a link to it, but I don't subscribe, so I couldn't read it. Also, New York Times writers are striking today, so you shouldn't go to the website anyway.
Oh, okay.
At least today. But they are the Paul Allen estate is actually selling all of the art, probably a lot of the art that I bought that the public never got to see either because it was on one of his private residences or one of his yachts, or, and this was true for probably 80% of his collection, in storage.
Okay.
So a
here's
very
the question,
small amount of his art was actually publicly available.
One of the things that you did, if I'm not mistaken,
You were not correct.
is you would coordinate the transportation and display of this art in different venues. Is there a specific piece that you remember, for whatever reason, like there was a problem with it or whatever, like you would know the name of it and the artist out of all the pieces you ever dealt with?
There's no specific piece of art. There is only one artifact that I dealt with that became a pain in the ass, which was the spinner car from Blade Runner, which was
What?
which is on display. Yeah. So the Paul Allen company bought us a legit spinner car from
Jesus.
the movie production.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, folks, for sort of
And
swearing, for blaspheming.
We sent it to this
I'm a
guy.
big Blade Runner fan.
We sent it to this guy in LA whose name I don't know, and even if I knew his name, I wouldn't say it.
Sure.
But he was a pretty well known restorer, and so we hired him to restore this because it was in pretty bad shape. So we hired him to restore it to its movie glory, and I was responsible for paying him. And at that time, our company was going through like severe austerity measures, and it was so hard to get invoices paid. And I did everything I could to get a check out to this guy, and it just wasn't happening. And I had to field a number of angry phone calls from him.
Wow. Was the work already done? Was the was the car in the lot waiting to be picked up? Or?
I don't remember that. It eventually, I mean, I think I finally went to like my boss and said, "Look, we have to get this guy paid today."
Yeah.
Because whatever, I'm tired of him yelling at me on the phone. And but I was there at, I think it was the EMP at the time when they installed it. So I saw them with lift the car up on a crane and they attached it to the ceiling.
Very cool. The I guess the point is, let's say for example that Paul Allen has, just pick a famous painting. He has a copy of Magritte's apple, with the guy with the apple in front of his
Yeah,
face,
I know
right?
exactly
You've seen
what you're
that
talking
before,
about.
right?
Yeah.
So let's say that he says, I love this painting of this guy with this apple in front of his face. And somebody says, well, for $20, I'll sell you a print of something that looks just like this, except it's a red apple and the guy isn't wearing a bowler hat, he's wearing a cowboy hat. Is Paul Allen going to go, oh, well, gosh, I was going to spend a lot of money on this Magritte painting, but instead I can get this
Well,
Apple cowboy hat cheaper and
no,
faster. Is that going to happen?
I think I see your point, Paul, and no, that is not going to happen.
There are a bunch of people on both sides of this argument, Ben, who seem to think
Very good
that
people on both sides.
people who buy art are, you know, dumb and trashy. And I think that the reason that they think this is because they deal with people that they don't like. And this is the only way I can say it. People aren't afraid of artists having the artists aren't afraid of AI art being faster or better than what they do. What they're afraid of is that they get paid by people that they don't like or respect, because they're like, this guy over here, this jerk who buys my paintings is going to drop me in a second as soon as there's AI work that's as good as the stuff that I'm giving him. That's
I mean,
that's
yeah,
the sentiment.
it's the lifespan of an artist, right? You don't come out of the gate with name recognition, which is where a lot of the high dollar pieces of art comes, which is what you're talking about. The
Yeah,
Magritte, whatever. You know, people don't spend top dollar for that painting because they think it's good. They buy it because it's a
because
Magritte.
it's a Magritte painting. Yeah, and so what my and this is depressing to some people when I say it,
I
but
don't know.
I think it's
Maybe
true.
that Magritte painting speaks to somebody in some way. I'm not dissing it at all.
Just as someone who spends a lot of time, learning how to play the violin, becomes a virtuoso, and then sees a member of a boy band that lip syncs, doesn't even sing their own stuff. I'm not accusing any specific boy band. I'm just saying that there have been bands, you know about them as well. Maybe not necessarily boy band. Okay, I'll say it. Milli Vanilli. Milli Vanilli was famous. People made money, and they weren't singing their own stuff,
Correct.
right? And a musician watching that would go, ah, right? In this moment, Ben, in this moment, I think that what an apt metaphor. Lip syncing and AI art. This is actually good. I don't think that anyone's ever mentioned this before. There was a thing called putting on the hits. Did you ever see this when you were a kid?
Was it a TV show?
It was a TV show. It was a competition where people would lip sync for money, the chance to win a cash prize.
I don't remember that. I do remember an MTV show where people had to lip sync in as a competition.
Yeah, it's very similar, most likely. And
What name was that show?
the the basic thing is that the lip syncer is still doing stuff. They're still out there, they're dancing and stuff like that. But there's this weird feeling of like, okay, they're singing, but they aren't, right? That sort of thing. That is actually an apt metaphor. But this is the point. A lip syncer can still get famous. A lip syncer can still have money. People asking him, someone playing air guitar, Ben. The air guitar championships. I keep on getting spam about it, asking
Really?
me to go and see it. Yeah, I don't remember how this happened. I think you and I spoke to someone at a bar or something, and they were doing it, and I gave them my email address, and now I still get their stuff.
Oh, that's a rookie move.
Yeah. Well, hey, like you were saying, the journey of an artist. Sure, you can have my email address, and now I
Is
don't
it
know
the
if I want to give you my name.
is it the air guitarist or the lip syncer that the musician or the singer feels threatened by, or is it the like
This is the point.
the
Is it the fact
computer
that a
generated?
venue? This is the thing, in my opinion, right? Um, it is the exact same thing as another
Like,
good example. You are a
I,
live band, right?
yeah,
You go and you
drummers aren't threatened by a drum machine.
right, exactly. But uh, so King Missile, are you familiar with the band King Missile? They did Detachable Penis was one of their hits.
I believe I saw that on the Dr. Demento show. Yes.
They played at the Blue Note in Columbia, Missouri. But there was another thing called Dance Party that was on right after that, where there was a DJ who just played music and then people danced to it.
Yeah.
And the people that thought that it was going to be Dance Party that night, and maybe it was later, but they all showed up, and then King Missile was on stage, who was a good band and a well-known, pretty well-known band, famous, and people were booing and asking them to get off the stage because they wanted Dance Party, to the point where John S. Hall, lead singer of King Missile, had the band play and then joined the people who were yelling for Dance Party and
Were you
yelled
there that
louder
night?
for Dance Party. Yeah, I was there. I was there for this. I sat on stage. They allowed me to sit on stage because
Did you
I thought John S. Hall was awesome. And
did you
and he
partake in the
was.
booing?
No, of course not. No. I was very much, come on, you guys, stop it.
No, I think
They're
it'd
still
be pretty
playing.
funny if you just sat on the edge of the stage and were like, "Boo! Keep going,
Yeah.
boo!"
But the point being, I think that's what this is it's akin to a live band being concerned because a venue is doing karaoke night instead of live music night, and the venue is telling them that they're making more money doing karaoke night than they do with live music, so they're not going to have them there anymore. It's that sort of feel, like
Right.
someone else is on my turf. I'm not going to be able to get my own. So people who do like for D&D, right? That's what I use a lot of my generated stuff in for my home campaign. I generate pictures of places, I generate pictures of people, that sort of thing. And people are saying, well, if you weren't doing that, then you could pay me and then I would get commission. To which I, of course, goes, I wouldn't do that. I'd draw it myself.
Yeah.
And I was drawing things myself. It's just that, I mean, one of the things that you can do is you can use images as a source for what's generated. I don't know if I've shown you. Yeah, we did that with the bear. The thing that we did with the bear, right? I drew the picture of the bear and then it generated into a better picture. You saw how it kind of followed it, right? So that's what I do is I draw it myself and then I run it through and have a better picture of it. If I wasn't doing this, I would just use my original pictures. They wouldn't look as good, but they would still get the point across and it'd be fine. I wouldn't pay somebody, $100 to draw the thing that I'm drawing better. And so that's the thing, is that a lot of times the people that are complaining aren't the people making the money, aren't the people with the established relationships with the people who are paying them that are good, right? They're people who are thinking about the money that they're not going to make. Fantasy money, which may or may not exist. I mean, one of the larger vocal proponents of, this is theft and I hate it. I'm not going to name them or anything, but they are an art student. They are an art student taking art classes right now, and they're worried that when they get out, they won't be able to do anything. And the point somebody made is, well, if you learn how to use this tool, then you will be able to use it for your own projects. To which point they said, I do use it. To which point I said, wait, if you're using it and you think it's unethical, why are you using it? I mean, I'm using it because I think that, training falls under fair use, so I'm not morally conflicted. You're saying that it's bad and horrible and ruining your future livelihood. Why are you paying money to use this tool if you feel that way? And they wrote
Know
back,
thine
because I'm a
enemy.
hypocrite. That's what they said. They said I'm doing. They said that they were a hypocrite. That's why they do it. And I'm
Right.
like, well,
Yeah.
at least you
A
are
little bit of
honest about it.
self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds
So-
kind of like, I mean, using, and oh my God, we've talked about this so much, but using it
Yeah,
as
I know,
a
I know.
tool just sounds like there's apparently what is a falsehood in the manufacturing industry that robots are taking our jobs. Robots are being used more and more, and cobots and just automation is being used more and more in manufacturing, but they're not. But they're replacing the jobs that people didn't want, and those jobs are being replaced by a higher paying, more skilled labor to manage the robots. And so if you imagine the robots being the AI art generators, you got the artist with the training who knows actually how to use the AI art generator.
Right. And also can have the skills to fix problems that the AI have, like giving somebody an extra finger or
Right.
eye teeth
Yeah.
or whatever.
And AI art is, I don't think, like, again, I'm not in this world. I don't pay attention. The only thing I know about it is from you. But I highly doubt AI art is ever going to replace actual human beings when needing to create very specific images.
Well, yeah, and if nothing else, right? The what would have to happen is the expectation of an editor would have to change. That when they said, "I want you to change this little piece," that the whole thing might change. If you get an editor who's like that, who says, "I want the ball over here," and okay, the ball's over here, but now he's wearing a hat and suspenders instead he wasn't before. If you're okay with that, then that's fine. But otherwise, you're gonna.
I think that specificity is going to just come into play more often. I think you will get to the point where you can actually talk to this generator and say, "I want the red ball on the left-hand side."
Ben, I think we might have done this before, but if not, let's do this little exercise, right? Let's say that there is an AI, right? That you can give it figures out, you just say, find me the time code for this, and it goes and it watches the entire video and finds you those time codes, right? And then you say, I want you to cut out this chunk. Oh, yeah, at first it has time codes, but then you take it away, right? And all you have to type is say, find me that piece where he's talking about the golf ball and cut that part out. And then it'll do it. And the people will say, this is what the people say, it's going to put videographers out of a job because now everyone can do that.
Right.
Because anyone can say, cut out the part with the golf ball. What you know about your clients, if they were able to do that, put the video in and say, cut out the piece of the golf ball, do this, would they sit down and do that, or would they still have you do it, just you would be using the AI to do that at that point? They'd still hand the video editing off to you. It's just that you're now doing it with the AI instead of...
That would make my job so much easier.
Exactly. But my question is, would they do that? Or would they go, well, now I'll just do the video myself because...
I mean, hopefully there would be some sort of aspect where you would need somebody trained in the operation itself. Editorial is more than just pushing buttons and moving scenes.
Well, and yeah, the point that you're making is exactly what I was going to say. And I was hoping that you would do this, but I'm going to feed you the line that I was hoping you would say. You tell me if it's right. You tell me if it's right or not. The people that you know that give you videos to edit for two reasons. One is because they know that you can do a good job, and two is that they don't have the time to learn how to do videos and make videos with all the other stuff they're doing. They're busy doing other stuff.
Right.
They're not going to make a video themselves.
Managing.
Exactly. So that's sort of, in my opinion, the point is that for a little while anyway, it's not going to take your editing job, right? Now, if somebody says this is the crazy thing. If somebody says make me a video about golf and that's it, it'll make you a video about golf. If you say make me a video about golf, but have you used that chat, that new chat thing that came out from OpenAI?
I have not.
There's a thing that's kind of cool, which is Stephen McCandless, friend of the show, has been showing me a lot of stuff with it. And what I can do is like I can say explain I'll just give you explain the concept of risk management while also breaking up with me because you don't want to get married. And it will say, you know, when we look at risks have a likelihood and a consequence. The likelihood that I want to remain dating you is very low, and the consequence of that is that I am breaking up with, you know, like it can do that sort of stuff. It's pretty fun.
As a brief,
somebody on?
Oh yeah, we got Drunk is with us, and
hey Drunk, how's it going?
He says, I'm just here to inform the future viewers that we might all be speaking Russian in the future.
Oh, why? What happened?
I don't know. There is the only big news that came out of Russia today, as far as I'm aware, is that the U.S. arranged for WNBA star Brittany Griner to be released.
Oh, good.
But in return, we gave Russia back one of the most dangerous men in the world. He's a Russian arms dealer.
Huh.
But also, Druk wants to know, wants you to know that Twitter has been going crazy with anime AI generations. Have you heard about the anime AI generations on Twitter lately?
Actually, yeah, the anime AI generation probably is from Niji Journey, which is Midjourney has put out an anime generator AI, and it's very good. Apparently,
he's also still amazed that I am sitting in an actual theater and this isn't just a background. And I don't know if you noticed, I was like, "Hey, yeah, proving I'm in a theater. Look, we even have a bit of a set up there." So
exactly. So can Drunk elaborate on the speaking Russian thing? I do want to
let us know what you're talking about, Drunk.
While you write that, Drunk, I'm going to remind you, Ben, of the joke that we wrote that we never fit into anything. If it weren't for me, you'd be speaking German right now. And then it cuts to Ben with a German vocabulary book. I got to study for this test. And I knock the book out of your hand and say, come on, Ben, we got to get out of here.
Yep.
I love it. But yeah, I do want to remind our listeners that Ben and I grew up in a time when simultaneous takeover of the United States by Russians and nuclear war with Russians were both somehow on the table. Like, we were supposed to be afraid of both of those things happening.
Yeah. I think, was it Red Dawn? Not Red Dawn.
Red Dawn, yeah. Red Dawn, but those were, weren't those guys from Korea that they were fighting? Like North Koreans, maybe?
I want to say, maybe I'm thinking of the remake, which made them Russians. Or
I think
that
might be.
Or the remake maybe the remake was North Koreans, because when the remake came out, maybe we had a bit of a détente with Russia.
Oh, that could be, yeah. And hey, so Jennifer, did you watch the original Red Dawn? Who were the bad guys? They were Chinese? Wolverines! Snicked. So yeah.
All right.
I'm getting better at wearing these glasses, by the way. I'm
Paul
doing
Goody,
this a lot, though.
For 2 points, name the star of 1984's Red Dawn.
Ah, geez. I should know it, but I don't.
All right. Here's
John Cusack. No, it's not John Cusack. Joan Cusack. No, not. Can you imagine? Wolverine. I can't do it. Yeah, Betty. I'm on the podcast, just so you know. If you want to eat all the chicken thighs, I can deal with it. You can do that. That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to read you the IMDb synopsis of 1984's Red Dawn.
Okay.
It's Patrick Swayze, by the way. But it is
Oh,
the
Patrick
dawn.
Swayze, right.
It is the dawn of World War III. In the West Mountains of America, a group of teenagers band together to defend their town and their country from invading Soviet forces.
Oh.
So technically they weren't Russians, they were Soviets, but you get the point.
Hey, good point. Man, I don't know. I feel as though
Chicken thighs sound fire ASF. As F.
Oh yeah. So Betty is taking the skins off of them and frying them up separately. It's more healthy for me, which is fine, but I'm gonna probably cover them in barbecue sauce and cook them a little bit longer.
So here's a reason why we all might be speaking Russian soon, and I was kind of on the right track. The guy, and so I don't remember his name, like Victor Boda or something like that. But he's this, world's most dangerous arms dealer.
Yeah.
He's the reason why Africa went from machete wars to AK gunfights.
Oh, okay.
Draw your own parallels there, or your own conclusions. And I'm going to look up who the baddies were in the new Red Dawn.
Jennifer, Ben has a correction. They were the Soviets.
And in the 2012 Red Dawn, they were North Korean.
2012. So I was thinking of the wrong one.
So 2 points if you can name the star, the Patrick Swayze role in the 2012 Red Dawn.
Okay, this is going to sound weird, but was it the guy who plays Thor?
It is the guy who plays Thor.
Hey, I did it.
It's Chris Hemsworth, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the new Red Dawn?
No, I haven't.
Did anybody? That's a question.
I'm sure somebody did.
Taking the skin off, nah, bruh. You gotta take the skin off and cook them separate and eat them separate also.
That's exactly what's happening. But I'm not eating them.
Please don't tell me them thigh skins going in the trash. Apparently
No. Yeah, they are. But yeah, my kid gets dibs on them. I just do what I can.
Of course.
All right. So hey, Ben.
Yes, Paul.
We're getting up on that time.
Got about 3 minutes left.
Yeah, we did a pretty good job figuring out all this stuff. I think
we solved AI art controversies.
We solved AI art. There we did. We did it. Pretty cool. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I really haven't been paying too much attention to the news in general. So I don't know what's up. Oh, I got news also to tell you after the break.
After we stop. After
yeah, it was one of those things that
clear.
I was just going to tell you, but I'm like, I might as well wait.
Oh.
See what's up.
Drunk says that Nicolas Cage made a movie about this dude that we gave up for Brittany Griner. There's a lot of controversy around this whole thing anyway. A lot of people are like, why are we giving up somebody who had just had like weed oil on their person for this very, very dangerous person? And the other people are like, if you were in a Russian penal colony, wouldn't you want America to do anything they could to get you back home?
Yeah, exactly. I saw. Have we not all seen the last season of Stranger Things? I mean, come on, things are crazy over there.
I doubt she was saying, yeah. Anyway.
And I'm just going to float this idea. And I know this is maybe a little crazy, but if things don't make sense, right? There are two things to look at. Either one, people are really stupid, or two, there's stuff that you don't know about going on. I feel like, that was one thing. Here's the thing to end on. Um,
Oh, we're
I
ending.
made a statement that people got mad at a little bit, where I was like, AI is going to take our jobs isn't a thing. The isn't taking your job. A person is giving your job to AI, and that's important to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And there's a thing that people feel like, or there's a thing that people suggest that I think we need to stop doing, which is that people think that the decisions made by people in power, rich people who are still people, are like the weather. Like there's nothing you can do to change it. There's nothing you can do um, to alter it. That's not true. They're not going to send, like somebody mentioned, oh, like Elon Musk didn't fire 70,000 people. I'm like, that's true, right? But not every single CEO and every single company is going to lay off half of their workforce at the same time.
Yeah.
If we think they're going to do that, it's crazy. Unless it's a plan to make us all want to get on the spaceships
There,
because we can't live on Earth anymore, or whatever.
there's
I
a
just
there's an Onion article saying that Elon Musk is depressed because there aren't going to be any employees left at Twitter for him to fire on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know the Onion was still around, and that's not a slam on the Onion. I for real, I'd forgotten.
I follow them on Twitter. That's the only way I see their articles these days.
Oh yes,
Hey,
Twitter.
Twitter!
Not on it. Don't know what's up. I have this hypothesis that maybe there's an intentional purging of a whole bunch of people so that you can kind of build up without having to worry about upsetting the base, and that people will come back to it eventually. But I don't know. It's when you have a certain amount of money, you can do anything that's stupid, and people will say that it's smart until it is smart. If you wait around long enough, you spend enough money, eventually maybe you'll start making money. I don't know how things work, man. I just
That
realized
sounds
that.
like a good philosophy to live by. And with that, I think it's time to go. Paul Goody, it's been nice talking to you
Hey,
today.
Ben, it's been nice talking to you as well. And hey, until I talk to you next week, do me a favor and please keep it raw. Wait, next week. Is next week? Yeah, next week is still, yeah.
is
Keep it
not
wrong, Ben.
Christmas. Keep it
Yeah.
wrong, Paul.